Hi, I'm Tiluka. I am the host of the Thinking Practitioner podcast and the director of advanced trainings. And I was surprised a few years ago, surprised and delighted that Massage Magazine put me on their cover as their first Massage All-Star. What a surprise and an honor, because back when I started reading Massage Magazine, I couldn't even imagine being in it, much less being on their cover. It was like being on the cover of the Rolling Stone magazine or something like that. So there I was, and then also surprised recently when they approached me and asked me for an offer for their readers. And what I did is I pulled a list of our most popular online courses, and some of the most popular are not the newest. So what I did, the one I pulled is almost from the treasure chest. It's from 6-7 years ago, and you'll see. It's back when online courses were like a new, exciting thing. Now we spend so much time online, it's not so new. But it's still, like I said, it's still extremely popular, and the techniques turn out to be extremely effective. So that's good, and that also means that you need to warm up your client. You need to go slow, you need to listen, you need to take the usual care. This is assuming you are a professional with professional training, and you'll apply these techniques responsibly. Check out the little sample that is free here. And then there's some offers there. There's an offer of the whole free course that's time limited, but I think you can also download the handout. I believe the URL bit.ly/MassMag15B. That's hard to say. I'm going to write it out and put it in the notes, but it's a bit.ly link. That'll give you the free handouts that go with the sample I'm going to show you and with the longer free course that show you techniques of the pictures and such, and also give you some links to the more expanded versions, etc. So enjoy the course. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your clients. Don't be a stranger, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Massage Magazine. And that first technique is, get my cheat sheet here, the iliac crest technique. And as I mentioned, I'm actually going to, are you comfortable there, Paul? Yep, it's good. I'm going to use a soft fist, so it's a straight wrist, to come right down onto the upper end of that iliac crest, the upper ridge line. And the first layers are going to be superficial. So I'm using a reasonably light touch to feel for a fascial shift or a fascial glide as I take my time and just make my way through those superficial fascias. The superficial fascias are actually a lot more sensitive than the deeper layers. They're richer in pain receptors, free nerve endings in general. So these superficial layers, the whole thoracolumbar fascia is sensitive, but these superficial layers in particular tend to be connected with pain. And that's kind of counterintuitive, because many people want to work deeper, and in fact they sense their back pain deep in their back, when it can be that they get the relief from just getting these outer layers to slide. And that's our purpose here. We're getting them to both slide and to be more elastic. So we're wanting things to melt a little bit. The melting is probably metaphorical rather than literal, but I'm feeling things actually yield and change as I take my time to work through these outer layers right on the crest. How's the pressure so far, Poe? Good, all right. I can follow that all the way around, and then I can take a slightly deeper layer as I monitor her facial grimacing to make sure it's okay. Still okay? All right, good. And then, Poe, why don't you play with a little bit of knee movement, so you bring your knee toward your chest there. Great. Is that okay? And then come on down. It's this movement that combines with my pressure to get the Golgi tendon response. Her movement also allows her to control the intensity of the work. She started really slow and deliberately, and that's great. That's what we want. Most people, including me, if you catch me unaware, are going to move my knee pretty fast. And we don't want just that mechanical, I'm waiting for that breath. We don't want just the mechanical pumping up and down of the knee. We want her to find a way to actually move in a way that leaves this relatively relaxed. That's taking full advantage of the Golgi response and helping her repattern her hip flexion, which is what we do in walking or climbing stairs or sitting or standing up, in a way that doesn't get unnecessary contraction or involvement of these back muscles. So I'm still thinking iliac crest, although I've started to drift a bit into the lumbar space technique, where I could feel how erectors, which bridge that space, were wanting to participate a little. So I'm just waiting on them as well. And Po's doing a great job from her side of moving the leg there. Let me use my other hand as well. Yeah, I'm going to move that mouse too so that we can see right where I am. The arrow is not trying to show you where I'm working. But now I've worked all along that crest, and now I'm going to work the lateral edge of the erector group where that thoracolumbar fascia feathers into it, where it surrounds both the posterior and the anterior sides of that erector group. But right here at that lateral edge of the erectors, there's often a thickening. And Po's doing some great breathing there. What happens if you let your leg go the other way? If you straighten the leg now, all the way down so that it's in line with your body. That's it. So that starts to engage the fascia here, and I feel a bit of a stretch. So pressure, still okay, still thumbs up, all right. And if you bring that leg back a little bit, I'm back behind you, so it's almost like in a position as if you're standing. Yeah, that's going to be important to do at least once or twice in your work, to actually take her leg all the way into the position it would be as if she was standing, because that's an important and common position that our body's in, and we'll get different kind of connections for her. All right, play with bringing that forward from there. That's great. And I'm not sliding a whole lot. We did some warming up of the outer layers. Most of the sliding now is happening between the deeper layers of fascia. And that's important, as well as that elasticity piece, which is related to the thickness of the layers. The layers actually have been shown to be thicker in people with back pain. The fascial layers of the thoracolumbar fascia measurably thicker. And then they've actually, through ultrasound measurements, been observed to get thinner as a result of hands-on work too. So that's kind of cool. I mean, we kind of know that from our work, that we can feel the tissue shifting and getting more elastic, and people will feel a change in their pain levels. But there's been some careful research that actually measures Langevin and Stecco, measuring the thickness of the layers and correlating that with people with pain, and then watching the thickness change as different manual techniques are applied. So Po's continuing to untangle or lengthen out those layers. Yep, that's great. And come on up again. It's getting easier, or? Okay, that's great. So the mini manual, I think, mentioned some layers. There's the superficial layer. There's the edge of the erectors. And then if I feel that three-dimensional mass of the erectors, I can actually go in front of them a little bit to feel that lateral edge. To feel the lateral edge of the quadratus lumborum. So that would be, say, a third layer. So I'm actually now anterior to the erector bundle. And here, her spine is reasonably straight. If there was any more closing of this space here, I might use a towel like the pictures in the slideshow had, a towel or a small bolster under her side to open this up slightly. I'm not trying to stretch that space open as much as keep her spine in a neutral position. But here, as I get into the lateral edge of the quadratus lumborum area, that's really going to relate to leg movement. Try that now too at this deeper layer. So this is still lumbar space, still page number 2 in your mini manual. Just a deeper layer. And she's doing so great with her movement and her breath. But this is the place where if she was bigger than me, or I was having a hard time getting that layer, I would very carefully, and again watching her response, I might use a forearm. That angle is a little tricky. Let's go ahead and take a second and move the camera so we can see that angle. So, I think maybe, let's try that. I might have put myself right in the way, but yeah, that's going to put me right in the way. We should have marked those places. Yeah, that's maybe. Okay, so this might be slightly easier to see, but I'm using a very broad forearm just in front of that layer there to get, again, the QL layer. And this I don't really need to do given that I'm, bigger than Poe, but if I was working with someone that was bigger than me or had particularly dense low back, I might use my forearm real gently. And that pressure's still okay? Now, some people, men in particular, seem to have really short waist or short lumbar space, and you're not going to get a forearm in there a lot of times, so then you'll use a smaller, more specific tool on that layer. Okay, so now if we go on to number 3, the iliolumbar ligaments, I'll show you the anterior approach here, where we're actually just feeling now still in front of that erector layer, which is really key. Many of us think about working the erectors from the back because we're used to working on people prone. I've actually gone now around to the anterior side of those. Yeah, that gets me in full view of my client as well. So I'm on the front side of those erectors. Again, I'll try to move my hands out of the way, but those anatomy pictures probably gave you a sense of how I'm actually in front of the erector mass and inside the pelvic bowl slightly. And that is iliolumbar ligament region. It's kind of the corner of the bottom corner of that triangular lumbar space, right down to that corner, but in front of the erectors. You want to try a little leg movement there? Okay. Better? I didn't ask you which side you wanted me to work. Is this one? Okay. Because we'll do a little bit later with Poe to help balance her out. We can spend more side on an affected, painful, or tighter side, but you want to do this kind of thing probably on both sides of people. Yeah. Great idea. So I'm using my thumbs together. They're like a mono thumb, one big thumb. So the thumbs are supporting each other because it's easy to hyperextend or overwork the thumbs. But in this case, I'm using them together like a single structure. So they're mutually supporting that way. Okay, there's another movement of hers. And there's lots of territory there for me to explore. I just hold and stay comfortable. And come on up there, so Poe. So then we can go one more layer anterior now and get into the psoas itself, which is probably going to be available on Poe because she's pretty differentiated in her low back here. But not everyone you're going to be able to feel that, at least not comfortably.